Hey guys, today we will be talking just me, no guest today, but we will be talking on a very important topic that a lot of people have been asking about. We will be talking about the F visa to H1B visa. So it's going to be short and spicy. And this is going to be specifically for international teachers who are here already in the United States and have kids who are in college or even high school. And you know, the next step after high school is going to be college. And your child might be needing the F1 visa, and then you're wondering what's next after the F1 visa. So that is specifically what we're going to be talking about today, changing from the F visa to H1B. And we're also going to be talking about the OPT option. So if you are an international teacher, and you don't even have to be an international teacher, because I know even students who are here on F1 visas, some of you might not be aware on how to transfer from F to H1B, or you might not even be aware of the OPT option. So stay tuned to the end of this video where you will learn more about F1 visa to H1B. Before we go into it, let me take the time to welcome my viewers. I know this was not an announced live, but that's okay. You'll get a chance to rewatch if you are seeing it after in your feed. So, welcome to this platform. My name is Dr. Britton, and I share on this platform my experiences about teaching in the United States. Also, I'm sharing other experiences that I've experienced. For example, my children went on F1 visas, and so I have experience also in that area. Hey, Donna Beach. Hey, Donna Beach. Maybe it's me and you alone. Anyway. Oh, thank you. All right. So, again, welcome. And if you did not watch my video that was posted on Friday on is it worth it teaching in the United States, you need to check that video out and leave your comments. Those who are here in the United States, I posted a video on Friday and the topic was, is it worth it teaching here in the United States? We're going to talk about some of the pros and cons about teaching in the United States and allowed you to share also your pros and cons. So you need to check that out if you have not checked that out as yet. All right. So I know a lot of teachers who are here, you have your children in maybe high school or they're getting ready to go to college, or they may even be in college on a F1 visa and you're wondering what's next. Hello, Diana and Akon. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Those who are on IG, whether you're on IG, Facebook, or LinkedIn, or YouTube, thanks for joining, guys. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, share if you know somebody whose child is on the F1 visa and may be thinking about transferring in the near future. As I said earlier, it's going to be short and spicy. I'm going to go straight into it so that we can get ready to go to work tomorrow. So you might be wondering, what is the F1 visa? The F1 visa is a student visa. And so a lot of teachers who come here on J1 visa, if they have high school age kids, they will be attending high school. But after high school, if you're still on a J1 visa, your children on the J2 visa, they can attend college on the J2 visa, but it might expire after a while and you are going to need to transfer them to the F1 visa. And in some instances, it's going to be good to, allow them to change status from J to F because there are other benefits they can get as F1 students. And I mentioned earlier, the F1 visa is a student visa, which allow people to study in the United States. Now, even if you're outside of the United States and you're thinking of opportunities on how to live in the United States for a short while, studying in the United States is another option. You can always stay in your home country, apply to a university, and once you're accepted, you can be offered the I-20, which shows that you are accepted to the university, and you can prove to the US consulate in your country that you can pay for your school tuition, and you will get a F1 visa stamped in your book, and you can travel to the United States to study. So it's not just for people who are already here, it is there for anyone who is considering teaching in the United States. Hello, Sophia. Sophia here, also Jamaica. All right, thanks for joining. So yes, you're on the F1 visa and you're wondering what's next. But I want to start from high school, because I know some people might be here who have kids in high school and they wonder what the process is like. So once your child gets to their final year, which is the senior year, most high schools encourage them to apply for colleges. And I know from my daughter's high school, they had a day where they call college application day in the senior year, where they leave that day aside for every single senior to apply for at least one college. So it's basically telling them, that's an option. This is the way you should go. Not saying you have to go to college if that's not your thing, but they have that day set aside, college application day, and they walk you through how to complete that application on that day. Once your child was a J2 dependent or a H4 dependent, depending on what status you're in, applies to that college and they're accepted, they will be required to show their status on their application form, because that is one way for them to see if you are eligible for student loan, stuff like that. Once you're an international student, you are not going to benefit from some of the federal scholarships. And so you'll be treated as an international student and you pay international fees. So they will encourage you now to apply for an F1 visa after you've been granted an I-120. There's two ways to go about it. If your child is already in the United States, you would not need to, or should I say, they will not need to return home to apply for that student visa, because they can stay here in the United States and transfer status. They can transfer their status from J2 to F1 or from H4 to F1. But it's important that they are still current, meaning the visa is not expired when you do that transfer of status. Also, very, very, very important when you do that transfer of status is to make sure, if you're on a J2 visa, that you have a waiver. The waiver is very important. Notice, even for J1 holders, if you are to transfer to H1B, F1, because some J1 holder do transfer to be students after. If you have that 2-year residency rule, you will be required to have a waiver. So that's another thing to take into consideration when your child is going to be transferring to F1, if you already applied for a waiver, or is there enough time on the J2 where they can start attending college on the J2, and then after you can transfer status to F when you have the waiver in hand. So let's get that out of the way. So once your child transfers from J2 or H4 to F1, your child can stay in the United States on that visa, even if H4 to F1 needs a waiver as well. No, you don't. For H4, you don't. For the H4 visa, the H1, the secondary one that comes for your what do you call them, your dependents, is the H4. For the H1B visa, there's no 2-year residency rule on an H1B, only on the J1, so they wouldn't need a waiver. People on an H1B do not need a waiver. It's just a J1 that has that clause. All right. So Jessica cut into my thought process, man. All right. So once your child transfers to the F visa, they can study in the United States for as long as their F1 visa is valid. Most of the time, what they do is if the program is a 4-year degree program, they will put 5 years on the F1 visa. And I'll tell you why the 5 years is on it later. But even if you as the J1, but you're okay, Jessica. But even if you as the J1 decide to go home after your program is finished, your child can still remain in the United States on his or her F1 visa as a student in the United States. All right. So your child is there studying on an F1 visa, but the 4 years is going to run off real fast, and then your child might want to continue living in the United States or might need to get some experience working in the United States. What can they do? There are several things to be considered. I mentioned the 5 years on a 4-year visa, a 4-year degree program. They usually put that one extra year on it so that your child, after the 4 years, can apply for OPT. That's the optional practical training. Optical practical training, meaning if your child studied nursing while they were on their F visa, then after they have graduated, they might want to, get some work experience in a hospital in the United States as a nurse. So if your child knows that he or she is going to do that, then what they will do is apply for the OPT. The OPT will allow them to take up that job if they're offered it in the United States, continue on their F1 visa, and they also now have their OPT, which is like a work permit to say, yes, you can work in the hospital on your F1 visa, because your F1 visa is still valid once you have that OPT visa. And if there's something I'm saying that you're not clear on, you can always reach out to a lawyer for legal advice, as well as all colleges and universities should have a body that deals with international students. And yes, I'm going to agree because I've experienced this. Though they have that body of people that works in the international department, they do not always know everything, because in most cases they are not internationals. There are also Americans who are working with international students, and they are sometimes learning along the way how to cater to the international students. I'm not saying all colleges. Some colleges have great international personnel who know the ins and outs of how to deal with international students, but sometimes you're going to find colleges that are not sure how to deal with these students. And so if you are not sure, you can always seek legal counsel who can assist your child in, transferring from the F to H1B or applying for their OPT to get that work experience here in the United States. All right. So if your child decides to go that route by applying for OPT, the school, the university, or the college, they should assist them in applying for the OPT. They're going to provide documents to show that the child is a student at their university and the child has been offered a position to work in whatever entity that place is. And it's usually going to be in the area that your child studied. So as I said, if your child was studying to become a nurse, then the optional practical training should be nursing. It cannot be in any job. If your child was studying to become a teacher, then the OPT is going to be offered for her to be teaching. One advice I'll give to people who are here: if your child is studying in the United States, and I'm not saying you're going to force things on them, but you want to encourage them into areas that are needed, like nursing is a big area. They are always in need of nurse. Teaching is another big area. They always need teachers. Technology, another big area. They always need people in the tech area. So you want to encourage your child to become marketable and not just do a degree just for a degree's sake, but something that is going to allow them to obtain a job quickly after they finish their degree. Because yes, you're going to pay a lot of money for them on the F1 visa if they did not get any form of scholarship. Okay, good night, princess. Okay, so the OPT option is there where they can apply for that work permit, and they continue on their F1 visa, and they work in that area. Now, they might also seek a job directly and go for a H1B sponsorship. What I must add though is a lot of people get this confused. You cannot apply for your own H1B. See, the way we can go to the consulate in Jamaica and apply for a visitor's visa on our own, we cannot apply for a H1B on our own. And a H1B visa has to be sponsored by a business in the United States, and that business must also be registered and reputable in the United States in order for them to sponsor a H1B. So once your child is studying, and I know some schools, you do not have to wait until the end of your studies to apply for OPT. For example, if your child is studying and in the second year or third year, they are offered a summer job in the area that they're studying, they can apply for OPT. And I would encourage that because that way they're getting exposure to their field and they are sharing what they know with certain companies, and these companies may at the end hire them in the long run. So if they get the OPT, from second year, third year, and then in their final year, they need a job and they worked well, and the company they worked for is able to sponsor H1B, then they can go that route. And I'm going to go to nursing again because I have an experience with nursing. I know a young lady, she was here on J2, and then she started her degree on J2 and then transferred to the F1 visa, and she studied nursing. Once she was finished with her nursing degree, she was offered a nursing job in a hospital, and she started her nursing career on her OPT. But the hospital is now, or should I say, started the process for her permanent residency. That is why I would say you want to be purposeful, or should I say your children want to be purposeful in the areas that they're going to be studying. This way they are sure they can get a job when they finish studying. So you can research areas that are needed and know for sure that in the end you stand a good chance. It's not 100% guaranteed, but at least you stand a good chance of getting a job. And nursing is one of those areas. Teaching is also one of those areas. And so she started on her OPT and they started her paperwork for permanent residency same time. So that's a plus for her. So what if you're not doing OPT and you're going directly to a company that sponsors H1B? Then you're going to want to make sure you secure that job before your F1 visa expires, or should I say, before you graduate. Because what I know with the universities, if you graduate from the university and you are not on OPT, or you did not apply to do further studies to extend your F1 visa, then the day you graduate is the day your F1 expires. It doesn't matter if, for example, you graduated on May 5th, 2023, but your F1 visa says May 5th, 2024. If you graduate 2023 and you did not secure OPT, neither did you secure to continue studying, Then the day you graduate, they're going to cancel that F1 visa. So your children need to know this and be aware. So your children need to be aware of this, and you as the parents have to make sure you are on this as well so that you can guide your children in the right way. So if, for example, your child is not sure what he or she wants to do, another thing to do is to apply to do further studies. Okay? That way they can secure their status in the United States. Hey, Sonia, they can secure their status in the United States and know that they are in good status. They apply to do further studies. They can, continue studying and continue looking if they weren't sure what they were going to do. But don't believe that though the F1 says 2024, you graduate 2023, you did not secure OPT and you did not apply to do further studies, your visa is going to be ended. The school will send that in to USCIS saying you finished studied, you graduated, you are no longer with them. That leaves you in no status. Okay, so if the child is going to go for H1B, you're going to make sure before that visa expires, they start seeking a job. They start seeking a job. And I am saying it again, not all H1B work is going to be where you can apply year long. Some of them, you have to be entered in a lottery, and then it's not a must that you're going to win that lottery. But like, for example, teachers do not, there's no cap, so you can apply year round to become a teacher. So they have to time that, have to take that into consideration and start applying for that job before they graduate, get the job, and the paperwork process begin before they graduate. And we talk about what the process is like for H1B. We cannot sponsor H1B. The school or the company has to sponsor it, and they usually have a lawyer who takes care of the processing. Okay, so I said I was going to be quick, short, and in a hurry. I think I've covered it. If you are not sure about the steps on how they apply for the H1B, I do a video on this channel that show you the steps of what the lawyer would do when they apply for your H1B. But it's not you who are going to be applying for the H1B. It's either going to be the school, because some schools will have personnel who can apply for it, or they will get a lawyer to apply for the H1B for you. So that's something you need to take into consideration. But not to worry, we will have a student, an international student, who will be coming to share her experience with us next week. She is from Jamaica. She came here. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same, Jessica. J2 to F1, H4 to F1. It's the same. If your child is on H4 and they're in high school on the H4, they still have to apply to a college. Once they apply to the college, then they will get the I-120. They will get a letter to say they were accepted to the university. And also they will need to transfer their status from H4 to F1. The only difference with the J2 to F1 and the H4 to F1 is that if your child is on a J2, your child will need a waiver. If the child is on an H4, there's no waiver needed. The child can just transfer status from H4 to F1, but you must take into consideration the H4 or the J2 visa must be valid. It cannot be expired. Whenever you're transferring status from one visa to the next, that visa must be valid. But it's the same process. It's the same process, Jessica. All right. And then if your child transfers over to the F1 visa, it's going to be the same process, whether he's going to be doing OPT or searching for a job, H1B. All right. So, as I was saying earlier, we will be having a young lady who's from Jamaica. She just finished her, and it's not my daughter. She just finished her degree in Columbia, South Carolina, and she's still here in the United States studying her. I think she's doing a master's or a fast track to PhD. She will be sharing that with us because I learned also that after your child finished studying here in the United States and getting their first degree, though you paid a lot of money for the first degree, we're finding out, and this young lady is going to share with us, there are a lot of universities who are offering full ride scholarships for these young people to do a PhD. Yes, a fast track PhD, meaning they will do the master's and go straight into a PhD program. And your baby can become a doctor before he or she turns 30. So we will be having her next week Sunday. If she's not next week Sunday, it's going to be the following Sunday. But she already confirmed, yes, she wants to come and share. She is from Jamaica. She came here straight from high school in Jamaica, I think in the Portland area. I don't want to say too much because she's going to share it. And I am currently studying a master's program in mathematics. How do I go about teaching my teaching job? So give me a job. Right. So, yeah, she's going to be coming to share her experience here as an international student, what it was like getting, you know, the opportunity to come here to study after studying in Jamaica at a high school, and then what it was like transitioning from her degree. And she did her degree in chemistry, a Bachelor of Science in chemistry. Bright girl, not girl bright, but we not expect nothing less. So she's going to be coming to share her experience. And now she's still studying here in the United States. I think, as I said, maybe your master's or one of those fast track programs. You don't want to miss that. You know, we have to big up our Jamaican picking it them, because when them come here, them do great things, right? Okay. Akon, you can. I am currently on an F1 visa. How about, how do I go about my teaching job search? There's a lot of videos on this platform that can help you, Akon, as well as you can secure a one-on-one consultation on supremacyconnect.com, where I can give you more details. If the information on the YouTube channel is not helpful, you can always get a one-on-one consultation on supremacyconnect.com. How do you have to show for financing? Yes, you definitely have to show. You definitely have to show financing. Let me give an example. Don't know if I missed this earlier. And I'm glad you asked that question. If you're on H4 and you're transferring status to F1, and your tuition, for example, it's $10,000 for the first semester. I just put it there. I didn't put a link, but I typed it. I don't know if you saw it, Sonia. Or I can try find the link. But if you the first semester's tuition is, say, for example, $10,000. When you apply for your change of status, and you apply for your change of status through USCIS, you will need to show proof that you can pay for at least your first tuition, your first semester tuition. And that can be in the form of bank statement, or, you know, if you have money back home in the bank, however you want to show it, but you must show that you can pay for your tuition. And I did mention earlier that yes, when your child goes to college as an F1 student, he or she will be paying tuition as an international student, and it's going to be more expensive than what the Americans pay to study in the United States. So you need to take that into consideration. Also, your child or children can apply for scholarships. Some universities will offer scholarships to international students. My daughter, when she graduated from high school here, she got a full ride scholarship to the college that she went to for her first degree. And she went there as an international student. So yes, it is possible for international students to get full ride scholarships for their bachelor's degree. You just need to research those colleges. And her college was a HB, what do you call them? HBCU, yes. And they offered a full ride scholarship to her. There's going to be clause, they have to keep up certain GPA for the entire years that they're there in order to keep that college for the entire 4 years. So it is possible for our international babies to get full ride scholarships to universities here in the United States. All right. So I did say it's going to be short and spicy. I don't see any more questions. If you have not liked the video as yet, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, share this link with somebody you know who has a child who's in college wanting to go to the next step, or if you know somebody with a child in high school wanting to go to the next step. And yes, I did not go in details about the steps on the H1B, but that's something the lawyer will go through with you in depth. And as I said earlier, there's a video on this platform that talks about the steps. The steps. I will leave that link to that video in the chat box if you want to see what the steps are in applying for the H1B visa. But thank you, Jessica. I love you too. Thank you very much, guys. So if that's it for now, bye. See you next time. And if you did not share, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell somebody. Check out supremacyconnect.com for their one-on-one consultation with moi, Dr. Britton. All right, guys. Bye. See you next time. Look out for our F1 student who's going to be coming to share with us her experience here in the United States. It's going to be an eye-opener. You don't want to miss that. Bye, princess.